Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again in another YouTube video, and of course the subject that we have been chatting and you have been asking me to cover in one of my YouTube videos, and it's related to how can you improve your English. You really want to be a cabin crew, you really want to apply for the job of a flight attendant, but you somehow feel that you're lacking in English, or perhaps you have been already passing through the stages of becoming a cabin crew and you have failed perhaps the English test. Now don't worry, there is a hope when it comes to this field, because English is also not my first language. I started learning English since I was young. But prior to become a flight attendant, I also had an opportunity to have a part-time studying in Canada, but still my English was not that fluent as it is right now. And when I started flying, or when I went for my training for the cabin crew training that lasted 2 months, as you all know, I still had to recap and restudy and rebuild the vocabulary that I have now. So here are the tips, here are my tips on how I was doing it, and hopefully if you apply few of my tips that I'm going to give you right now, they're going to be working for you as well. Now, I'm a book lover. I really love books, and during my entire career of a flight attendant, I was constantly beside shopping of shoes and bags. So those are the things that most of the cabin crew like to have. I was also buying books. Now over here, it's just very short, a very small collection of what I have. These are also my husband's books. But why I'm starting this chapter of the video related to books is that reading English books really helps. I have already covered in my previous video, which is right here, about the English test. I already spoke that if you're lacking of, if you think that you're lacking in English, then there is a way that you can, for example, read English books. Now over here I have pretty easy literature for reading, and let's say get a book, Danielle Steele, The Sins of the Mother, one of the books that I just recently finished reading. It's recently while I was pregnant, and you're speaking English but you're not that fluent. Now get any book. I just gave this as an example because it's easy to read, it's interesting book. Make sure you find a book that it's going to be interesting for you, and you start reading. You start reading the first page, the introduction, and you start reading the second page. Now once you finished reading the first page, there will be a lot of words that you don't know. Now, underscore those words, write them down, Google them, translate them. Now, by every page that you're going to finish reading of the book, you are going to be rich in few words later on. You're going to be, sorry, this is my dog, he's trying to distract me on my video now. You are going to be able to at least have 10 new words with each and every page that you're gonna finish. Now, this book might take very long to read. It doesn't matter how big the book is going to be. But then, think of the second book. Think of the third book. Ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to have the job of a flight attendant or a cabin crew, as I love to say, cabin crew / flight attendant, you really have to dedicate yourself. Now, English test is super easy. Many of you are asking me, how do I know whether I have passed the English test? Most of the time, or this is what I imagine, is that you can be tolerated by 3 mistakes, because in the cabin crew training that lasts for 2 months, the cabin crew in their tests are allowed to do 3 mistakes. So I assume that the recruitment team will tolerate an English test up to 3 mistakes. They are very general. The English test is very general. Now my video is right here again. If you want to know and if you want to see how the English test looks like, but you cannot know which English test is going to be happening. Now, the very first tip that I give you was read English books, write down the new words that you don't know, learn them, and every second page, third page, fourth page, a new book later on, it's going to be easier. I promise you, you're going to have a more rich vocabulary even with the first book later on finished. Another thing that really helps is also subscribing on Netflix. You already most probably have a Netflix. Now, because I'm currently studying German language and the spare time that I don't have, but while I was in the intensive course for German language, I was on Netflix and I was watching movies with the subtitles in German. Now, what you should do is watch any movie doesn't matter, it's going to be English or your hometown again, or your hometown, home mother language movie, and then have the subtitles in English and try to read. For me, as I've already reached to the level of being very fluent in speaking English, but still, it's really going to be helping you later on. You're really gonna learn so many new words if you have the movie, even if it's an English movie, plus have the subtitles in English. And I promise you that even the first movie that you're gonna finish watching, you're still gonna learn a few words, and then they're gonna help you in your vocabulary and making that vocabulary in English more rich. And then later on, of course, passing that English test, and of course in the career of a flight attendant, an easy one, an easy training, and I hope that everything will be successful towards the end. Social media is amazing. Again, I'm emphasizing to social media because social media can really help you. Now, if you have a spare time, and I'm sure that you do have a spare time if you're not a mother like me, but find a stranger who speaks English, go online, start chatting, interact or put yourself in a conversation with strangers. I'm using the social media over here, but you can just go on the street and or get a job with where you can interact with strangers in terms of people who do speak English. And then I promise you that, of course, after every conversation or after every chat that you're gonna have, you're gonna be able to make your vocabulary rich in speaking English. But one thing you guys have to make sure that by sitting and chatting with me, because I'm so sorry to say this, but I do not have sometimes time to reply to people sending me messages. I try to do my best, but I do not have time to chat. I have time to guide you, assist you, and to send you my links of all my videos right here. But I unfortunately, even though I want it so much, I won't have time to chat with you. But find that person where you can write and write and write. And one more very important aspect: try to learn the proper English writing. Sometimes candidates are chatting with me and I can see that some of you are not writing the proper English. So in your future, or in your role, or in your road of learning English, try to learn the proper way of writing, try to learn the proper way of speaking, and I promise you, as I said previously, that success will come. It's a process, it takes time, but it's not impossible, because if I, as a non-English speaker, I'm from Eastern Europe, from Macedonia, Republic of Macedonia, which my mother language is Macedonian. It's a little close to Russian, as we use the same alphabet, Cyrillic alphabet. So if I could learn to speak English in this manner, I'm very sure that whoever is watching this video right now, you're gonna be able to do that as well. Now, all that I have told you is related to the cheap version. Oh, again, he wants to play, sorry. Now, all that I have shared with you is related to... Now, the previous tips and tricks that I have given to you about the upgrading the level of English are all kostenlos, as they say in Germany, are free of charge. So the other, of course, successful way of learning English is subscribing to an enrolling yourself to an English class with a teacher that's gonna promise you and that's gonna help you to get that level of English higher in terms of reading, writing, and understanding English. As I have mentioned in some of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, your entire career for a flight attendant is going to be in English, starting from the training, from the initial training for cabin crew, and later on with all the levels as your career will be progressing. So therefore, being fluent in English is a must, as it's written in the non-negotiable rules and regulations right here. And it's not a joke. There will be also terms that you won't be understanding once you're going for the training, but it's going to be so much easier if you're, as I said, if you're fluent in English. So another tip, which I forgot to mention, is of course the amazing applications, but it takes a lot of motivation to have an application and to actually start learning from your application or from online courses that are available on the internet. I do know that there are some people who offer classes over Skype or over video chat, that they're also affordable. So what is important is that you evaluate yourself and see which motivation you're carrying within yourself. As I said, it's very important how much you love the job, because if there is a will, I love to say, if there is a will, there is also a way. And just think of, as I said, the motivation that you're going to have inside you, and position yourself in this manner as you think that's going to give you the best results. Again, thank you for watching this short video. Don't forget to click subscribe right here, and wait for my further videos. There's so many interesting topics and subjects that are coming up, so I hope that everything that I have told you is going to help someone out there improve and hopefully get a job for a cabin crew. Until then, stay blessed and see you again.